All right.
Hello everyone, welcome to today's Knowledge webinar, Comprehensive Media Management in the Cloud with EMAM. Join the EMAM team for an essential demonstration of how to launch a truly comprehensive cloud-based media management workflow. Chuck Buelowis is the Vice President of Business Development and Sales for EMAM, with over 30 years of sales and marketing experience within the corporate post-production and broadcast television markets. And now let me show you where you can find EMAM on Knowledge. And I just want to let you know that Knowledge is changing the way designers purchase 3D software, offering more choices, more freedom, best advice, and faster service. So check us out at knowledge.com. And now without further ado, I'll share Chuck's screen so it can show you what EMAM is all about.
All right. And hope you see my screen okay.
Yes, perfect.
Yes, all these different changes in OS and webinars and making sure it does share. Again, thank you so much, Novich, for allowing us to speak today about EMAM. If you don't know about EMAM, we're a company that's about 15 years old now. Been doing a lot of data tapes and things. That's where originally we started. We now moved into the software business, and so EMAM kind of came out of a situation where clients off tape were actually looking to archive a lot of their media, so digitizing all their media and having either a local or a cloud-based environment. So we've been doing cloud for over 10 years or so with the EMAM software, and then being able to manage pretty much any type of content and so on, and then making that available to share, preview, and then of course we'll talk about a lot of different workflows and things like that today, and kind of going through things. So our company's based in New York, and we have offices pretty much around the world, and clients around the world as well. So various clients from very simple, colleges and universities, just storing documents and videos and things like that, to full corporate production, doing any kind of producing of content and then sharing content, libraries and things like that. So we'll kind of go through a number of things today, kind of discussing how different people use EMAM as well. All right, so kind of the agenda today, we'll go through a few slides discussing some of the challenges that are environments today. Big changes, obviously, this past year, and probably going into most of this year as well, with COVID and things like that. So the environments for computing and processing and things have definitely changed. We'll kind of go through that a little bit. Some of the new network environments, on-premise, local SANs, cloud, different storage locations, and of course people being now remote. So, and how are they connecting with the office and things like that? And, in some cases, very difficult, working here at home and connecting VPN and various ways to connect and so on become very, very difficult when you're connecting with an on-premise system and local storage as well. And then, of course, with Knowledge and EMAM in combination, we can provide you with some centralized media, and accessibility to this media, and then, of course, remote editing and using the content and sharing the content, viewing the content preview and so on, and running virtually any type of workflow from a remote location. So some of the new technologies and things that are out there give us a lot of opportunity to kind of work remote, share media easily, and work on projects and production, things like that, or to simply just archive and share and then distribute all from the cloud. And we'll talk about that today. So kind of, as we're faced this challenge, typically a lot of things are, out in the field, and of course trying to get people to upload content and things like that. And then, as people sit and wait, for content, typically in the past, it has been very slow. So there's a lot of new technology today that provide acceleration of upload speeds and things like that. We can talk about that with AWS. They have a lot of accelerators that we can use to get the media from a local photographer or just any kind of file-based, workstation, and uploading to the cloud. So nobody's sitting around waiting and so on. And then, the other biggest deal is, collaboration now with everybody remote. Nobody's in the office. SANs are hard to connect with, and then kind of sharing content and media, keeping media safe with high frequency, and accessing the media safely, and being able to access it pretty much anywhere remotely, but then also share that content as well. So these are kind of the, challenges we're faced with. And typically what our clients are looking for, the challenges they're trying to, meet and so on, is, needing infrastructure. So a lot of content typically is siloed. It's, it's in somebody's drive, or it's in the office, we can't get to it, those kind of things, and trying to find a way to kind of centralize that. And then, demand-wise, again, typically everybody was working in the office. It was quite easy for everybody to connect with. There's a higher demand now for getting access to media and computing, processing, and delivery, and so on. So the idea really to kind of keep up with that demand on the IT side becomes very, very, very difficult to do. And maintaining that accessibility. Typical clients right in January of last year, about this time, were realizing that they're going to have to send people home and then create an ability to access content and then share content and just continue working. Everybody, I think, has been hooked up with GoToMeeting or GoToWebinar and Zoom and all sorts of things with Teams and so on, to be able to talk to each other. But the idea really is to maintain that accessibility of all your content, your projects, and so on, but then also maintain that security as well, and then maintaining with that enhancements that's out there, the technologies that's out there as well, being able to take advantage of that new technology and implement it into your existing systems, and then maybe even new systems we're going to talk about today, with our cloud-based environment. And then of course controlling budgets as well. So a lot of CFOs and so on looking at this, and IT managers and so on, going, oh boy, now we have to implement a lot more cost to make things accessible for remote users and new servers and things like that. How do we kind of meet those budgets as well? So typical challenges that you have. The other thing that's really key is to make it simple for them to access. So the ability to get online, quickly connect safely, and have that security level still maintained, and then being able to access all your content as well, and then scale as needed. So being able to, if you have to add 10, 15, 20 more users, not having to go in and be able to expand that, but not having to be able to outlay a lot of cash to do that expandability there. Of course, security is key. A lot of these systems we'll talk about in AWS already have levels of certification for security. So those are also met, using the platforms and so on. And then, dedicated systems and so on, being able to work in a closed environment or open, more public. So either way you can do that. And then being able to work then with other technology as well. And then just be flexible in how you kind of design that different layout and workload and also workspace that you're working in. And really the focus we're talking about today is really media management of virtually anything and everything. So, video, content, audio, images, documents, and things like that. That's truly what we do. This is kind of how this is all focused around here. So this was a typical environment over a year ago. So most people were at work, connected to local storages, workstations connected, accessibility and setup of the environments and so on were controlled by the IT group. So being able to maintain connection and then, connectivity for everybody on where they're supposed to be with permission levels and things like that. And all local access of all the media. So this was our typical environment. Now things are moving to where it's going, on-premise storage, networks, and things like that, and then everybody's remote. Okay, so then the biggest thing this time last year was, okay, how do we set up a VPN? Do we need to put in servers outside the network? What do we do with the firewall? How many ports are open? Things like that. And it just became kind of a mess for a lot of clients and so on. It became very, very difficult for them to kind of manage all of that. The access was very, very slow as well, as most people probably have already experienced. Connecting to their own networks into the office typically are much slower. So your productivity drops tremendously when that happens, and becomes more inefficient work environment. So that becomes an issue. And then what you do is you find that most of those folks will go in and actually download media and then start creating those silos again, instead of having a localized, centralized area to store media, access, search, find, and access that media. And and everybody just kind of gets frustrated. So it was about June that we started seeing clients just go, look, I give up. We got to figure out a different way to do that. And so we'll talk about kind of the solutions here on how that all works. Now, with AWS, I think most people know who Amazon and AWS is. If you haven't been hiding under a rock and so on, they provide then all the IT infrastructure, servers, storage, computing power, cloud-based workstations, remote access by remote workstations as well. They provide a quick and easy way to access media and then find that media and then be able to work it. There's more efficient environment that you're building here, and the key is that they have, I think it's 170 different plus services and different things that folks like us at EMAM can take advantage of and provide you with a platform to really share media, process media, and so on quickly in a more effective environment, and be really efficient in how you process media. So the other key thing was a lot of our clients, we'll talk about one at the end of the PowerPoints here, actually used it to centralize all their content from all their shoots for advertising. They do 30-second spots. And so the idea was everybody had a silo and so on, but using AWS and then AWS storage gave them the ability to send everything up to the cloud and then give access to all the editors anywhere in the States, in the US. And so that's what really helped out, was being able to centralize all that media and have easy access to that media, and then collaborate, of course, as well across the board with all the other different folks. So kind of the situation like we talked about, again, everybody's separated from the office, remote difficulties connecting and things like that. So how do we provide then a solution? Okay, now EMAM is a data media asset management software program that then runs in AWS Cloud. Okay, and so we run this as a service. And Novage, we'll talk about how Novage is kind of taking part in that, being able to then acquire media. So any files that are being uploaded to the cloud and so on, the EMAM platform will allow you or have access to, and I'll show this how it's done, but the ability to go in and just drag files in or folders of files up into the EMAM system. And so what we do at that point is determine what the content is. So is it a document, is it video, image, audio file and things like that. We then prep it with a proxy. So a proxy of that file or that image or that audio file is produced for viewing within the EMAM system. And then we'll show you the interface here in a second. But the ability is, upload everything. Everybody from anywhere and everywhere can upload all that content. We then organize that content in what we call categories, and it's very, very similar to your file folder structure. So taking all the different, maybe projects or how you organize all your media, all your documents and things like that, if you drag that file up there, we then organize that in what we call a category. Then at that point, you can start adding permissions as to who gets access to that category. And so that's where you set up in the platform, your different users and permission levels, and then they'll be able to then access when they log into the system and search on that content, view it, preview it, and if they have a permission to share it, deliver it, download it, whatever it might be. So different options there as well. Now, We also offer the ability to produce content through this, let's say, the Adobe Suite or Final Cut Pro as well. We have the panels or extension panels that have the ability to look into your platform that you would sign up for, look in, find the content, and import that or download that into a local workstation that gives you the ability to edit, let's say, in proxy or in a full res mode. And so you have the ability to actually download that content, share it with somebody, or go ahead and create a project locally, upload that project back into the EMAM system, and then allow somebody else to actually edit that content going forward. So quite easy to kind of share content, edit content, and you can either do the proxy view, proxy of that content, or the original. And then we have sharing. So we don't have a little block there for sharing the content, but that allows you to kind of send a link to the proxy view for one or multiple types of assets. So documents, videos, images, audio files, graphics, things like that. They would then get an email, click on it, open it up in their local browser, and then be able to see the content and then preview it, add their comments. You can do a review and approve, so accept or reject the content as well. And then when it's ready to deliver, you can pretty much download or deliver that content pretty much anywhere, all from the cloud. And then we have options for archive into the cloud as well. So you can actually store into cheaper storage, less expensive, more cost-effective storage in the archive setup, which is S3 Glacier. And then they have a couple of levels there with different pricing levels for that. But that doesn't mean you can't find the content, it's archived. But when you do need the original content, you then restore that and then download that or do whatever you're going to do and process that. Okay, so that's the EMAM. This is the EMAM director. And I'll show this to you right after Ian. We're going to, at the end of the presentation here, we're going to go ahead and look at a demonstration of EMAM. But this is the platform that you would be accessing. So once you upload all your content, the media is then previewed within the director interface. This interface is actually designed by you. So you could use what we call widgets, and those widgets then are placed in very specific locations on the workspace, and then you can kind of save that workspace. It's kind of depending on how you work, you know. So I'm an admin, so when we look at everything in the demo, you're actually going to see all the widgets, but you can actually then set up users with only maybe one or two widgets, so keeping it very, very simple. So it's easy to kind of connect with, easy to use, upload, organize all your content in those categories, you know, being able to share and so on. We can kind of show how all that works as well. All right, so how things work, you know, in this environment. So you would be remote. When you sign up through Novage, you would go in and set up the system and so on. And when it's connected and set up into the AWS cloud, you then remote in. You get a login credentials and you log into the system remotely. And you know, you can just use the local browser and view the content, or you can use also a remote workstation with, say, Adobe Premiere, and use that extension panel I spoke of. And so then you can access the content and then view the content. So in this case here, you know, with the web interface, you can, you know, with your credentials, that describes kind of what you can see and do in the system. You can upload content, organize it, produce, share, and then of course, archive this system with it. So the way this all works, very simple. As we were speaking earlier about, you go up to the Novage website and go to the EMAM platform, and you can sign up for the creative side. There's a couple of different versions in there. There's one that's just typically just archive, preserve, and then of course create is if you're going to be doing some producing of content, say using Adobe Premiere as an example. But once you click on this, add it to cart, get a quote, agree to the quote, and then go ahead and hit the button for subscribe or purchase, you then are charged on a monthly basis. Okay, so the idea really here is that you sign up, subscribe, and then pay a monthly fee. And with that monthly fee, then you could go for 6 months and then say, okay, well, I don't need the service anymore, or just keep continuing on to go into the system. There are breaks if you do commit to yearly subscription but you can still go on a monthly basis and try it out as well. But it's quite easy. Hitting, the add to the cart, get a quote, sign, agree, set up, and then within a matter of maybe 30 minutes, you'll have login credentials. You'll log in and then set up the system for yourself. We can also help you with training as well. So if you'd like us to kind of get online with you to kind of get things set up and get a little familiar with that, we also do have some training videos available on Vimeo and other places like YouTube and so on that we can provide you. So quite simple to sign up, get it set up, and then away you go. So this is one of our use cases I was speaking of. This is Spectrum Reach. And so again, what they had was very interesting. So somebody would go out and shoot a commercial in the middle of Idaho, and then they would have to put it all on a drive and then ship it to some location or central location and then begin to edit. But then they would have to ship it also to the editors and then download that content and then, and edit and things like that and do review and approve. But everything was siloed. So a lot of things were never kind of put together in a central location. So what they did was they went with our software, the EMAM Cloud software, and with Adobe Premiere and AWS, they actually have a central storage location where all the photographers upload all their content. The editors then log in, find that content, and import a proxy of the content and edit that content. And then once they're done and done the review and approve of that, they then localize the original content and then finish that content. But everything is centralized, all the projects are centralized. So if you have multiple people working on the same project, you upload the project where we manage it in the EMAM system. And then from there, somebody else could check out that project, do their edits, and put it back into the EMAM system, check it back in. And then the person who's doing the finishing can grab it, grab the originals, and then hit render. They upload then the sequence that they've created, and then at that point they do a final QC and a review and approve, and then once it's ready, it goes out to air from there. But again, all of this is done with, say, 200 photographers, a couple hundred editors all around the United States, all managed by EMAM, all the media, the content, the projects, and so on. And then, of course, all the task management and things like that. We take in and organize all that as well. And then we kind of manage the project from start to finish, right to distribution. So it kind of gives you an idea. Some other clients that we have. So we have, different things like with colleges, sports, government, various places in Spectrum, of course, that we talked about. So we have a wide range of different clients that use it. And the nice thing about the system is you can start small with just, say, the archive system, where you just put it up into the cloud, you share the content, organize it, share it, and then, maybe download it and things like that. Or you can go to the next level, which is called Create. And Create then gives you the ability to do that editing and so on. So if you do need some more information, here's our information. But of course, Novage will have all this information. If you go right to their website first, that would probably be best. Check out the information. They can provide you and help you with the, any questions you may have about the product as well. So let's kind of go into a demo here. And if I can go and find where it is, there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out here first, kind of show you what happens. So this system is in the cloud. So I'm here in Nashville and have a local little Mac working here. And so I can log into the system. Typically what will happen is once you sign up for the system, you'll get a URL or a location to kind of log into. You'll also get credentials. So I have my credentials here. And these credentials actually allow you to then get, specifically to locations and the media and functions based on, what your credentials are assigned to. So you set up user groups, things like that. And with those user groups, set up permissions. When those users log in, they only see certain content and only can do certain functions within the system. So quite easy there. So this is the EMAM system. And so again, as I mentioned, this interface is actually kind of designed by you. So this window here within, I'm using Chrome, for example, has the ability to kind of, move what we call widgets into the workspace. And so with that, if I wanted to add another function like, say, delivery, I could do that. and grab the delivery widget and just simply drag and drop that and close what we call the widget drawer here. So these are all the different functions. Again, as I mentioned, I am an admin, so I see everything. So don't get intimidated by with all the different widgets that I have. So just kind of, there's only certain functions that you need. Just go ahead and load those up. And then what you're able to do then is go ahead and save it. And so I have a number of these based on, some of the demos and things that I do and so on. This is my just simple search. Again, I can turn all of this off and so on. I only have one or two here. But this is like the browse widget here. So I can actually look and grab content, look at that content. Let me turn the sound down here before I turn it on. But I have the ability to kind of go in, look at the content, preview it. You have logging, which we'll show in a second here. I have the ability to kind of, preview the content. I can actually create my own thumbnails of this content as well. So take a snapshot and save that. I have also different settings where I can actually select like different stereo pairs or different quality of playback as well. So lots of options here in the preview widget as well. So, content typically will show up in here. Like I said, we create this proxy as it comes in. The ingest process, like I said, is very, very, very simple. Just grab your files out of your drawer here, or just go ahead and select add files. I'm not sure if I have any files on here, but we'll, here we go, there's one. So we can grab this. What happens is then it pops up and says, I'm going to ingest this up to my EMAM system. By the way, we can set up different profiles for different functions. I don't want to go into too many details, but we can get specific with you on that. You can assign the media to a project that you're working on. That would be like an Adobe project or EMAM project we'll show in a second. I can then also apply it to, maybe one of my categories that I have already built into the system here. You can create any structure of category here. And it can go on forever. So if you want to have all the different, sub-levels, categories and so on, by all means, you can do that as well. So you have that capability, kind of go in and add the categories. And then, of course, also metadata. If you'd like to go in and set up metadata and metadata fields that you ask people to sign in, there could be required fields, date fields, list time code fields, things like that. So lots of options here, that you can do on the metadata. Once you hit the upload process, you do get a dashboard that shows you exactly what's going on and kind of view things and so on. So very easy to do. There's also included in the system is the ability to use artificial intelligence for automatic metadata tagging. Now this is quite cool. So you have the ability to go in and actually do facial recognition. It's a little bit different on the system that's in the cloud and so on, where you can actually go in, do facial recognition. You can train the system based on videos, audio files, and images. We also do keywords. So if something was spoken that's really key, or annotations like blue sky, boat, sun, man, tree, whatever it might be, you can also go in, and the automation systems like from AWS, they take a proxy of this media that you've uploaded. So we create that proxy, remember, and then this file goes up to AI. They give us all this feedback, all this metadata shows up, and we're able to actually go in and search off any of this information. So I can look up tiger, and all this information will pop up and it would be highlighted in yellow. And then we also have speech to text. So different languages for translation. So if the English is spoken first, that's what the speech to text will show up as. And then you can also do kind of a translation as well from that. So they do use, I think it's Google Translation or their own AWS has their own translator. So they actually provide you then with a translation of that. And then you can also export this out as well. So if you do need to export out the script and things like that, that can also happen as well. Just going through a couple of other things here as we go through, looking at time. So we also have the ability to kind of go in and log this information. So we have in the preview widget in the left-hand side here, the ability to do a set in and out. And so what that does is it allows us to actually create subclips of this information or this video. And with that, I can either deliver that or export this out, or be able to save it as a new asset. So if I wanted to create a highlight of a video, I could do that as well. And so this would be the time code from this time code to this time code. I could jump right to that spot, have it start playing. I could jump to the out frame and do that as well. And then I can create multiple of these, or I can also create markers as well. So these markers could be any kind of description based on whatever information you're needing to apply. As you can see, we also support different languages and different key characters as well, and so on within the system. The interface also supports multiple languages as well, by the way. So if you do need different languages for it, we can support that as well. And then a couple of other things that we do. If you move to the create side, you can go in and create projects. These projects allow you to kind of create what we call rough cuts. And so based on full content and so on, I could just simply drag and drop content from here and then just drag it right onto my timeline. And I can save this. And this is what actually is imported into Adobe Premiere as an example. But I could also save this and then just send it out as a rough cut sequence with proxy for folks to review as well. And as you can see, we can kind of manage multiple versions of the different projects. So if I create first off an EMAM project, import it into Adobe Premiere, which unfortunately I don't have it on my laptop here, but I can then also export it back into EMAM as a Premiere project. So now what would happen is that folks could actually then export this out to their own Premiere project, or Premiere workstation, and then be able to edit it and then export it back out to EMAM. And then of course we would then track all the versions of those projects. So not only do we manage the media, but in Create, so EMAM Cloud Create, you have the ability then to manage all your Premiere projects as well. So a couple other things that we do that we'll go through, review and approve. So if you do need to send out a review and approve to someone or multiple people, by all means, go ahead and set those up as your emails. These would be users within the system, or you can also do external users as well, and then give them a temporary password and username, and then of course have an expiration date on that link as well. So quite easy to go ahead and share content with folks. By the way, we do keep track of different versions of product as well in here. So you could have multiple versions of an asset, maybe for web videos, broadcasts, and versus VOD, something of that nature. So we do support that as well. So, and then lastly, a couple of things here, delivery. Again, I can actually go in, share the different content. So if I just kind of drag and drop different content here, we'll go ahead and grab a couple of other things here and drag those in. And then what I can do then is just go ahead and send out a different link to this media, which would be proxy. I can send it to you in an email. And so you can actually go in, set up an enabled login, and so on. I could add my own logo here as well, and then go ahead and put this link in an email, and with that link then be able to share that content. And so now this opens up in their local browser when they click on that link in their email, and I can then share all this content, give them the permissions to download or even share this with others as well. And as you can see, we could do documents, videos. They can quickly just shift over to that. They could have an image to look at as well. So it's really up to you. This is kind of the order in which I placed it, and I could change that order as well. But this is a great way to kind of look at it and say, this is how I'm going to share my content with others as well. And then of course, downloading capability. So you can just quickly just grab assets and hit the download button. Or you could actually have clients log in and then allow them to place an order. And then the administrator of the EMAM system would then get an email and so on. So quite easy to kind of look at it. But again, as I mentioned in these categories as well, this becomes very easy for you to kind of search for your content. With that content, being able to look for projects, various things, asset types. So if I'm only looking for video, I can just quickly go in and look for Draco project, and then just for the video for that project. That makes it quite easy to find things. And then you can actually go into an advanced search. If you want to use a thesaurus, we can do that as well. You can build your own thesaurus in here with very keywords and so on. And then look for text captions. If you have captions with your video, we can extract those and then search on that. And then lastly here, you can kind of go in and create your own filtering. And this is based on metadata that you assign to the media. So if you go in and kind of assign very specific metadata to the assets and so on, you can then search based on any one of those fields and quite easily narrow down what you're looking for. So I'm looking for project A with video and everything that was ingested last week, that kind of thing. And so very, very powerful to, kind of find and choose things and so on. So with that, one other thing too, I wanted to show you, like I was showing you earlier, there was the metadata as well. With that metadata, then being able to customize that metadata within the EMAM system here, you have that control. So if I click on here, look at the metadata field and so on, I have the ability to kind of add my own metadata structure here and then be able to find things quite quickly. Let me refresh here. I got too many things going on at one time. Let me shut this one down here real quick. And so with that, being able to quickly find that metadata structure, build that metadata structure that you have, and then with that, then be able to kind of search off it, control all your media. Let me switch back here and go move back onto it. I really want to show you this metadata field. This will be the last thing we'll show here real quick. But you kind of design then all of this metadata structure. And so you can use this to kind of organize all your media, to help search for that media. But then we can also build workflows behind this to actually then deliver media, download media, update media, whatever it might be, and so on. So a lot of this stuff can be customized. We can help you with that through Novidge and be able to train you on that as well. So in a nutshell, the EMAM system, again, can manage content from anywhere. You upload the media into the system. We organize it for you in those categories that I showed you. With that, you add the metadata. You can then search, find, collaborate, share that media, assign it to projects if you go with the EMAM Cloud Create, and then be able to then import through Adobe Premiere. And then, of course, deliver, download, or share that content at any one point in time. So with that, I think I'll turn it back over to the folks over at Novidge, and we'll go from there. And if you have any questions, I think you can go ahead and fill in those questions here. Let me see if there are any questions so far.
Yes, thank you so much.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Go
ahead,
Derek.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for the great presentation. And I was just going to say that we'll stick around a few minutes for questions. So type them in. Don't be shy. This is your chance to talk to somebody who knows really well the software inside out. So, and what a useful tool. But if you don't have questions, I want to remind you that that's where you can find EMAM on the Novidge website. Feel free to contact us. We have a phone number on every page of our site. You can always find it, and we're here for you for everything you need. Also, I've recorded the presentation, so if you want to watch it again, share it with colleagues and partners. You can find it on YouTube. Just search for Novidge. And yeah, I don't see any questions, but you've been so thorough in your demo. I was very impressed, Chuck. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for the time.
Yeah, and again, watch it again on YouTube and come visit novidge.com. Thanks again for the great demo, Chuck, and have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right, sure.